Hey guys, TheAirsoftTech here, and welcome back to 5-Minute Tech Tips. On this episode, we're going to be going over how to modify an anti-reversal latch to work with a Siegetek 10-to-1 bevel gear. Now, it's necessary to modify your anti-reversal latch to work with a Siegetek bevel gear because Siegetek designs their gears a little differently than most other manufacturers. And the way Siegetek does it is they adjust their ratios between the bevel gear and the spur gear. And so by doing this, they tend to increase the diameter of the lower portion of the bevel gear, which pushes the anti-reversal latches out, which means that you have to modify the actual anti-reversal latch to work with a Siegetek bevel gear most of the time. So let's actually take a look at how to do this. It's super simple and it should take you about 1 to 2 minutes to do. Alright, so now you're going to have to excuse me as I take apart my 10-to-1 DSG setup so I can show you guys how to do this. So here is my 10-to-1 DSG all taken apart. Here's what a normal anti-reversal latch is going to look like, fully complete like that there. It'll kind of come to a point where it's supposed to catch on a regular Tokyo Marui spec bevel gear. So you can kind of see how well that would catch in a Tokyo Marui spec setup. That's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a Siegetek setup. So this is a Siegetek 10-to-1 bevel like I showed previously. And you can see it's got a lot more latches on it, and the latches are at a different type of angle, and the bevel gear is kind of pushed out a little further here. So clearly our regular anti-reversal latch isn't going to work. It won't quite catch right, and so you have to basically square off the end like so. And you don't have to do a whole lot. A lot of people kind of tend to do too much, I think, here. But you don't have to do a whole lot to get that to catch right. So all you got to do is just take the Dremel bit, in your Dremel, and just kind of just square that corner a little bit to where it looks about like that. And then it'll catch appropriately. Now take your time doing this. Don't try to quickly do this. If this is the first time you've ever done it, don't quickly do it because then you might mess up and then now you need a new anti-reversal latch. So let me show you what that actually looks like when you put it into the gearbox shell. So once you've squared off the end of your anti-reversal latch, you should get it clicking nicely like that. Though this should not be the final test. The final test, you should close it up. Just put one screw in the center right there. Screw it down all the way. Tighten it down and make sure it fits nicely. And then actually rotate your gears. Now, obviously with your anti-reversal latch, they're only going to rotate one way, like that, to pick up the piston. So they should not rotate it all the opposite way. You should put a lot of force on it, try to get it to rotate the other way, and if it doesn't, then you've successfully modified your anti-reversal latch to accept a Siegetek 10-to-1 bevel. Now, it's really important that you get this right because you do not want your DSG to be spinning forward like that. That's a real good way to ruin your tappet plate, and that's a really good way to mess up your piston as well. So try to make sure that you get this concept right. Unfortunately, there's not a anti-reversal latch by Siegetek that I'm aware of that you can just pop in and make it work just fine without having to modify anything. So you will have to modify this part and you will have to get it just right. But that is how you do this. Alright guys, that is how you modify a Tokyo Marui spec anti-reversal latch to work with a Siegetek 10-to-1 bevel. Now, I keep saying 10-to-1 bevel. This process should work with a 14-to-1 or 20-to-1 bevel if you need to slightly modify your anti-reversal latch. Getting your anti-reversal latch to work with a Siegetek bevel is basically all about squaring up the end just ever so slightly to get it to mesh appropriately so that when the gear tries to rotate backwards on the force of the spring, it can't because it catches on the anti-reversal latch. Alright, so thank you guys for watching. That'll have to do it for this episode of 5-Minute Tech Tips. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me down in the comments about what I can do better in these videos to make it more appealing and interesting to watch. But that'll have to do it for this video. I will see you guys in the next video of whatever the heck I'm doing. But until then, stay tuned, techs.